Okay, so I see Knots play this and still don't understand anything that's happening. Okay, so I'll try to explain as best I can while I'm playing. But if there's anything that I potentially miss during this, I actually have the archive of my first stream of this from last week when we played it. That is up on YouTube, and I go into more specific detail there if there's anything that I've happened to miss or not explain fully. But basically, as far as solo goes, we are one of 10 different agents that are all in it for themselves. So basically, your goal is to spawn on the field. There will be 3 vault terminals that you need to get access to and hack. That will open up the vault. You break into the vault, you steal the package, you get to an extraction point, call your extraction vehicle, and get out. That's what all 10 players are each individually trying to do right now. Anyone can hack the 3 terminals and steal the package. So if one person hacks a terminal, then nobody else needs to hack that terminal. It's just offline at that point.
Hey, I'm good.
So starting off, one thing that's good to do is to try and grab some intel from these different devices. And intel serves a couple different purposes.
Can't have too much, honestly.
Intel can let you open doors that are locked by keycards. Higher level clearance doors are going to require more intel to hack them open. But if you get yourself a keycard, you can open doors of that clearance level completely free and instantly. Hacking takes a while, so that can sometimes give you away if you take too long to enter a room.
Success?
So I'm full right now. I knew someone was gonna be rude.
You shouldn't feel proud of it.
Critical.
Wow. How am I alive right now?
Unlocking my full potential.
Question is, I don't know how they knew I was here. How did they know? So that's one thing you gotta be careful of, is I figured as soon as I saw the guard walk in and just, like, completely stop, like, there was no reason for them to be back here. I don't know how they knew I was here. I think they just came in the office the other way. Something tells me that VIP might be another player. I don't like this. I'm a little suspicious of them. But might not be a problem. I need health badly. Yeah, I'm really not sure how I survived that encounter, because somehow I also clicked out of the game. I don't know how that's even possible to do. But yeah, usually what I try to do is I like to try and slow play it so that I'm not getting into firefights very frequently. But good golly, sometimes trouble finds you instead. If that isn't just the greatest indication of it. Let's see. Is there any healing nearby? Not really, no. Okay, I think it's time for me to move along here. So this is this is a great time to demonstrate something else that you can use intel for. You can use 3 intel, and you can heal at a healing station.
That was a long enough break. Get back to it.
Isn't that delightful? Just a nice little bit of not dying is pretty good. Oh. Woo. Who's shooting? Who is shooting? Is that above me? I think there's shooting happening above me. Hi, VIP. You look totally believable. Yeah.
Rival has deactivated a vault terminal.
Okay. I think I'm gonna disguise as staff real quick.
Remember, you're part of the staff now.
So one of the things that you need to balance out in terms of your cover is different types of cover will give you clearance, will let you kind of like belong in different areas. So now I'm one of the green clothed staff members. So if I go into, say, like this room here, I fit in. I shouldn't encounter any issues being in this room because I am a staff member.
I feel so good. Woohoo!
Because if you try to go into a room like that one and you are not disguised as at least a staff member or higher clearance, then any NPCs that are inside of that room will scold you, and that will eventually break your cover, and then you'll be exposed as a spy.
A vault terminal was deactivated by someone else.
So right now I'm just trying to slow play it because I want to try and get a guard disguise if I can. Because guards can go pretty much anywhere they want to.
No one will get past me, except me.
Up to a certain point. But guards can go into guard rooms and staff rooms. So it is possible to see them in both places. Yeah, I had a feeling. My accuracy is all bonkers. I'm making their job too easy for them. Ah, hi, third party. How you doing? Yeah, it's really hard for me to, like, explain things as I'm getting shot at by people. I had a feeling as soon as I stood in front of that vault that there was gonna be, something was gonna go down.
Okay, I'll do my best.
Okay, I do my best. Nice subtitles. Oh, man. So yeah, there's nuance to this game that's kind of hard for me to explain succinctly. I'm not the best teacher. And it's hard for me to teach and survive firefights at the same time. But like, I still have fun with it. So basically, you start off as a civilian, so you don't have clearance to really go into any of those locked rooms. Next level's a staff member, so that lets you be in green rooms without any issue. Guards are blue level clearance. Those will let you go into guard rooms and staff rooms. Though you're not going to sieve too many guards inside of a staff room, but it's not impossible for them to go there. And then above that are the technicians, and you only see technicians in the vault area. So anything purple clearance is something that a technician has to go for. And since you're only going to see them in the vault area, if you see a technician outside of the vault, then you can be pretty certain that that's another player that has left the vault. And then there are, on each map, there is a single VIP, and they can go wherever they want to. But because there's only one of them on a map, it's not very safe to use as a cover, especially if people know where the actual VIP is at the time. It's a lot easier to assume that a VIP is a player using that cover. Not like Fortnite where you can solo like 5 different people all at once. Not really. It really depends on which agent you're playing. Some agents are definitely more combat oriented.
Fine choice, pal. We'll get along just fine.
Cavalier definitely is more combat suited than, say,
My skills
this guy.
are in high demand. Understandable.
Larson is meant to be a character that plays around not being seen in the first place and not engaging in direct firefights. So his weapon's not super strong for combat. Yeah, dual
Have no
pistols.
fear, 'cause I am right here.
So just by default, you start with alternating dual pistols. And I'm trying to think of what it's called. Expertise. Your expertise, basically your ultimate ability, if you want to consider it that way, lets her investigate objects that have been interacted with by other players, and then you can trace their location for a certain amount of time. So Cavalier is good at finding people. Like specifically, that's one of her, that's like her ability is to find people and track them down. And then her passive ability lets you charge her melee attack even more than usual to make it an even stronger melee attack. Because every agent can melee. Every agent can charge their melee attack up, like an extra level. Cavalier can charge it up 2 extra levels. And it gives you a little bit of a lunge forward, so you can use it to kind of close distance as well.
Agent
Squire
reporting for duty.
Squire doesn't really have anything that super specifically helps him with combat. He's just generally pretty decent for combat. Like his weapon does a respectable amount of damage, assuming you can hit all your shots, which I was not demonstrating super well. But by default, his passive ability, when you take damage, you get a speed boost for a short time. So you can either disengage more effectively, or you can move more unpredictably in combat. So that can come in handy. But it's not something that's really specifically combat-oriented in the same way that Cavalier's abilities are. And then the agent I was fighting against there, the one that was shooting at me, was Ace.
I won't let you down.
She's got a sniper rifle. You can imagine how difficult a sniper rifle is to use in close quarters combat. So I think the only reason I survived that encounter is because I was in a short range encounter with a sniper rifle. That other agent that I had fought before that, though,
I'm not here to make friends.
is Red. Now, I'm not too familiar with Red because she just got added to the game recently. But she has 3 different weapons that she could potentially be choosing from once you unlock them through the mastery system. Some characters have more transformative weapon changes than others.
What I lack in experience, I make up for in, enthusiasm.
Like Squire has a silenced pistol, a burst pistol, and a high caliber pistol. They're not too different from each other for the most part. Like, they're all pistols. They all will more or less handle similarly, with the burst pistol being the most unusual, I guess.
I wonder whose life I'll ruin today.
But Red has 3 completely different weapons. She's got an assault rifle to start with. You can unlock a carbine rifle and a shotgun to choose from. So very different weapons from Red, which can make going against one a bit of a gamble if you don't know what kind of weapon they have.
Ready for action.
And of course we got loot boxes.
Don't worry, I'm gonna make you proud.
Very Overwatch. You can just oh, you know, that one's not too bad. The Willy Wonka inspired cosmetic, as implied by Chocolate Factory being the name of it. So I think
Remind me.
I think I will. I think I will put that on there.
This is gonna be so fun. I mean, I'm ready.
So I'm trying to think of what else to explain. Okay, one of the major things, like early on, is just kind of learning how the NPCs move around, because especially at the beginning when you're just kind of like getting your bearings, it can be really hard to tell when an NPC is just acting strangely versus whether that's an actual player and they're, you know, making very human movements. Because they've actually done a decent job of making the NPCs move around in ways that kind of make you wonder whether they are or aren't a player. Because there are certain things that if someone's running around, if someone's like sprinting through a room, that's not very common for the NPCs to do. But it is possible that they can do it sometimes. But it's not very common at all. Especially for longer distances. So sprinting is kind of a risky movement. And NPCs, as far as I've seen from both my own play and watching other people play, I've never seen an NPC jump. Even once. So if you jump, if someone jumps, that immediately is a huge red flag that might as well basically be them saying, "Hey, I'm a player, look at me." So not only recognizing how the NPCs move, but also learning how to move like them. That's kind of more of my play style, is to try and blend in with the NPCs, let the other people take each other out, and then I just kind of keep an eye on things up until the end. And so far I've been able to have pretty quiet matches. This match was, like, that last match was unusually combat focused for me. I don't usually come across that much combat in my matches. But I don't know. Maybe I should have been less suspicious with my actions too. Because I did kind of signpost a little bit myself when I stand like right in front of a vault and all that sort of stuff. That's what I like about the spyglass, and I need to remember to use it. This lets you hack things without having to be next to them. So you can hack like these intel terminals and stuff. As long as you can see it with the spyglass and it's not super duper far away, you don't have to be at least right next to it to be able to hack things, which can help in preserving your cover as an NPC. Let's see.
Let's get this over with.
I'm just gonna unlock
This will not make us equals.
just to
Okay,
have them
You
unlocked.
got this. No. I got this.
One thing to note while I'm thinking of it, one thing to note in terms of the NPC movement, like while you're moving around undercover, you can look around and your like NPC cover that you're disguised as will not face the direction that you're aiming. Your cover will only change direction based on how you are moving, whether you're moving like forward, backward, left, or right. You'll turn your disguise will turn to face the direction that you're moving, but not the direction that you're aiming. The tutorial does a better job of letting you kind of see those different things. So we could do a quick run through the tutorial. Not as long-winded as I did last time, because I think last time it took me like an hour to kind of go through everything all together.
Welcome, Mr. Reed. You are finally ready to undertake your final test before field deployment. Do not be nervous. You are more than ready. Is what we would say if you had actually listened to the brief that clearly stated, do not bring your weapon. That was a joke. Please, take a moment to review your settings in the options menu. Then, proceed towards the examination room when ready.
I've already checked my settings.
The goal of every mission is to acquire the package and extract with it. Preferably, alive. The package will always be hidden in a secure vault. To access it, you will need to open the vault doors by disabling vault terminals.
Alright.
This is the insertion phase. You will then infiltrate the vault. This is the infiltration phase. Hack the terminal to acquire the package. Then you will need to extract. This is the extraction phase.
That'll make sense.
Hack an extraction terminal to call an extraction vehicle. Once the vehicle arrives, make sure you are in the extraction zone and wait until the extraction gauge is filled. Now, let us proceed with a practical test. Smile. You are now on the screen.
So this is what you look like when
The
you're not in
holographic
cover.
is the most important tool an agent has at their disposal.
You can see where you're turning and aiming and all that sort of stuff.
Anyone looking in your direction can easily identify you. Please, stay put while your cover activates. Think of the holographic cover as a shield protecting you both visually and physically. While active, nobody can see your actions, weapons, or gadgets, only your movement. Additionally, it absorbs some of the damage caused by incoming attacks. Try moving around the room while paying attention to the screen to see how your cover reacts.
So this is important to get used to. Like where you move
Notice that your
is
cover
where
only
you're
follows the
facing.
direction you are moving towards. It leaves you free to look around without being suspicious. The holographic cover does have some weaknesses. Firing your weapon will instantly blow your cover. Try it for yourself and see what happens.
So because of the cover system giving you a bit of defense, it's almost from what I've seen, it's not usually advantageous to be the first one to shoot, because you immediately break your own cover. You're trying to shoot through someone else's cover. If you're firing your gun, you're probably trying to shoot at somebody that you suspect to be a player. So you're not doing as much damage to them, and they're able to immediately start doing full damage to you. So that's something to keep in mind. I try to make sure that I'm not the one starting engagements. Partially for that reason, but partially because I'd rather not give away my own position if it's possibly avoidable. You know, within reason. Yeah, as soon as the gun is fired, immediately cover broken.
To recharge. Standing still makes this process go faster. Moving slows it down. Beware. There are other ways to blow your cover. It can also be broken by taking damage, different gadgets, or agent abilities. The holographic cover is just a tool. It's up to you to use it optimally, and to beware of the dangers. The insertion phase will now start.
So that's also important to note. The amount of movement that you're doing will change how quickly or slowly your cover regenerates. So if you want your cover to regenerate most effectively, ideally you want to try to break line of sight with whoever is trying to get you, and then possibly hunker down. It's really situational though. Sometimes distance is more important, sometimes getting back into cover is more important. That's something you kind of have to feel out based on the situation and what's going on
During your
at the time.
missions, you will encounter various locked security doors. To open them, you will need intel. Gather intel by hacking the devices around this room. Different devices yield different amounts of intel. 3 intel acquired. You can now open the security door. Staff level doors lead to a staff room. To blend in, you will need a staff cover. To change your cover, walk up to a staff worker and interact with them.
Alright, so when you switch disguises, it makes this like big holographic effect happen around you. And then as that happens as you change to match whatever NPC it is you're taking the disguise from.
Hey, a job's a job.
Now, nice thing is NPCs don't care about, you know, what your cover is or any stuff like that. The only time that the NPCs care what cover you have is if you don't have cover with enough clearance to be in one of these secure rooms. So if I walk into the staff room as a civilian, then the staff member NPCs that are in there are going to scold me, and that will eventually break my cover, and that causes a whole myriad of problems. But like, they don't care if you're switching between different disguises and all that sort of stuff. That's only really important to make sure that you're not showing other players where you are. That's basically the most important aspect of it.
Always make sure to have the proper cover when entering a security room. Move along.
And there are a few different character models for each security type, so you can switch between these two as well, and they're all staff members. You can usually tell who's got what security level because they're dressed certain ways. They've got they're very clearly color wardrobe signposted.
In this room, you will need to open a guard level security door. 5 intel are required to do so. Chop chop.
Another thing that you can use intel for that I didn't explain last time is you can open these vaults to get field upgrades.
I feel so good.
And each field upgrade vault is basically like these safes can be found inside each of the different security level areas. So your green one you're going to find in the staff room, the blue one you're going to find in guard rooms, purple a technician in technician rooms, and then there are a few places to get the gold chip, the gold field upgrades, but they'll cover those in a little bit here. For now, we know that we need to get into that guard room, so we need a guard disguise.
No one will
These
get
guys
past
wearing
me,
blue.
except me.
And one thing that you can do when you're in cover is you can perform what are called social interactions, which basically are just environmental interactions that you can do to just blend in more. And different security levels will have some unique interactions that they can do. For example, staff members have something where you can go up to, say, like a plant, like in the corner here, and you can spray the plant with water. That's something unique to the staff members. Guards can do things like this, where they'll stand near, they'll like stand guard in important locations. That sort of thing. One thing that's also unique to the guards is that whenever there's gunfire happening near other NPCs, they'll usually they'll duck down and take cover to try to, like, you know, like fearing for their life, you know, that kind of thing. But the guards will actually go toward agents that are out of cover, because what they do is guards will try to actually take down any agents that are out of cover. So you want to make sure that you're keeping an eye on these guys, because they can and will make life harder for you as an agent. So do remember that NPCs will either cower in fear or run away if there's gunfire near them, but guards do not. They will actually go toward combat because their job is to take down other agents.
When you are ready to continue, take the gadget on the desk.
Now we briefly cover gadgets.
This is a bouncing mat. Inflate it to bounce others away, block doorways, or make yourself jump really high. Boing, boing.
Boing, boing. So I appreciate that when they have this, when they give you this gadget, there's an obvious usage, since it's a bouncing mat. Your initial inclination is going to be, yeah, you can use it to, you know, bounce yourself up in the air. But it also introduces the idea of there's more than one way to use gadgets. Gadgets, depending on which gadget you have, there can be some interesting applications. For example, like they were saying, you can use it to block doorways, to make it harder for people to get through. You can block a line of sight, get yourself a little extra distance between you and an adversary if you need to just reposition and get out of there.
Use the primary action button to deploy the bouncing mat. Use the secondary action button to inflate or deflate it.
So there are some gadgets that are really multifunctional.
While the gadget is selected. After a short cooldown, it will be usable again.
A couple more guards. Just hanging out. No big deal.
Security doors can also be opened by using a matching key card. There is one hidden in this room. Find it. To help you in your search, you can activate your expertise. Press the expertise button to activate it.
Yeah, short cooldown. They say that. It's not exactly short cooldown, but you get the general sense of how the mechanic works. If you're next to your gadget, you can just pick it up and immediately use it again. But if you want to recall it from a distance, you have that option for that convenience, but it does come at the cost of you're going to have to wait a while before you can use it again. So now it's telling us to use our ultimate ability, our expertise, to find a key card for this door. So this is a technician area. This is a purple key card, or 8 intel. Since your basic intel capacity is 10 at a time, that is most of your intel just to open one door. So finding key cards can be really helpful. Now, if you listen carefully, you can actually hear like a little bit of a energy sound coming from this, like a little bit of sound. So you can kind of hear the cards. So you're not completely in the dark. But with Squire, your expertise allows you to see items in the environment around you. So you can find the keycard.
Keycards will unlock any matching security doors at no intel cost.
Is that a Fortnite chest? I mean, it's got a similar sound to it. But yeah, if you want to find keycards and you don't have a really great way of tracking them down, sometimes just keeping an ear out. If you hear that sound in a room, then you might be able to grab yourself a keycard. Now, one of the ways you can heal if you take damage, one way you can heal is by eating food that usually has this kind of like particle effect coming up from it, so you can easily tell where it is. Other players will see it disappearing though, so be careful if you do use this healing method, because other players will see the food disappear from the bowl when you eat it. So that can be a bit of a tip off for other people that you're not an NPC, that you're an actual player, and they will do with that information as they see fit. There's a bit of a risk of that with the health stations and the bathrooms too, but I don't know how much of a problem that usually is. That's why I usually take the field upgrade called, I can't remember, what was it called? It's like Social Battery or something like that. Basically, it lets you, once you find that field upgrade from one of the safes, you can perform a social interaction and you will heal passively over time as long as you keep performing this, as long as you stay in the social interaction. So I find that really helpful with my kind of stay back and stay out of sight kind of play style.
Shut down the vault terminal to open the vault door.
So this is a vault terminal. You'll only find vault terminals in these purple rooms. So the guard rooms, so you'll see guard rooms around the map. Each of the guard rooms has a technician room directly attached to it. But since you're only going to find technicians in the vault itself, you will have to enter these areas without the proper cover. So you most likely are going to be entering these rooms as a guard, which means you don't have the right cover, but that's kind of part of the intended gameplay loop anyway. So you get into one of these rooms. There are usually 5 technician rooms scattered across the map. 3 of the 5 rooms will have one of these vault terminals. The other 2 just don't have a terminal. But these technician rooms are where you can get your purple upgrades. So, still worth visiting sometimes, even if they're not vault terminal rooms. But when you disable one of these vault terminals, you can get your golden field upgrade.
In a regular mission, 3 vault terminals will fill upgrades.
Bunny! Bunny, welcome in! It's been a while since I've heard this one. Apple bottom jeans and the boots with the fur. It's lovely. Hello, Bunny. Welcome on in. How are you doing? I'm just running through the tutorial again, just to kind of explain how the game functions on a fundamental level. Not covering too much of like the super high level stuff that even I probably don't understand. But yeah. So we just hacked a vault terminal. So pretending that this was the 3rd vault terminal to be hacked in the match, now the vault is open. You can see the entrances to the vault they're indicated by this crown emblem above the door. And there are 3 entrances to the vault on every map. So each of those entrances matches up with one of 3 possible extraction points. So 3 entrances, 3 extraction points. Kind of makes sense. Lots of rules of 3. 3 vault terminals, 3 entrances, 3 extraction points. So you have a choice. But yeah, I'm doing pretty good, Bunny. I'm glad to be back to streaming, first of all. I did miss streaming. That is something that was like, oh man, kind of miss that. I'm sad I'm not able to stream, but now I've got the time to stream again, so we're back into it with a game that I've been enjoying this pretty well. I do love me some spy stuff. It's a pretty fun got some pretty fun mechanics to work around with.
While in the navigation mode, use the primary action button to select a highlighted object.
You've also got a nice little navigation mode. So let's make our way
Navigation mode will then show you the
to the vault
fastest path leading
vault
it.
door.
Use it to locate vault, objective, and extraction terminals, in addition to health stations and ammo dispensers.
Yeah, so this game is kind of like a mixture between it's got elements of extraction looter shooters, but it also has some elements of, I guess it's kind of like Assassin's Creed multiplayer, which I didn't play any of myself, but basically you can disguise yourself as NPCs and try to use that cover to get from place to place as undetected as possible. But there will be points where you come across other agents and you're kind of forced into a firefight. It's either you or them. And whoever's the better shot wins. But sometimes, if you know what to look for, if you see anybody that really makes it clear that they are a player and not an NPC, then you can make use of that information and try to get the jump on them.
Heads up, Mr. Reed. You are not alone. 2 agents are currently in the area. Pay attention.
So there are 2 other agents alongside us right now. So right now we're in disguise. We have our cover. So other players don't see that we have our weapon right now. And you can see that indicated by like the way that we're holding the gun like close to our chest. If our cover gets broken, we're gonna be holding it out in front of us more like you would see in a first-person shooter. So here's something else you can spend intel on. If you spend 3 intel, you can get some ammo. These are only in guard rooms, so if you need ammo, this is one way you can get some without having to kind of loot around. So somewhere around here, there are 2 other agents. So that's fun. I need to hack this open. Now here's something interesting. When you change disguises, you leave behind this little holographic breadcrumb. So other people will be able to see, hey, somebody was right in this spot when they switched to a different disguise. So that can give you a bit of an indication of whether somebody might be nearby or not. Is to look out for things like that. So there's a VIP here. And I'm just gonna go to the bathroom and kind of use the bathroom and just do that. So the fact that this NPC is like following me is a little bit suspicious. The fact that they're kind of like following me exactly. And they're like ceaselessly tracing me. It's a little suspicious, especially when they stop right in front of me. Sometimes it's kind of hard to tell who's another player and who's just an NPC, making some very human-like movements, or some very erratic movements at least. But the fact that they're following me pretty specifically like this, I think it's pretty safe to say that this is an enemy agent. And so it is.
Oh boy, self-defense.
Threat neutralized. Agent Larson should have dropped a keycard. Take it. Make your way to the objective terminal.
So we can grab all of the field upgrades off of them.
But I might need this.
So now we have all of our field upgrades. Because when you defeat another agent, they drop all of their items. So any field upgrades or key cards that they had will all drop on the ground. And depending on the situation you're in at the time, if you have time to pick some of that stuff up if you need it, then that can be a good way to get some items. Do be careful about getting third-partied though, because that is something that can happen, especially if your firefight takes a long time to kind of wrap up. Some people may be interested in taking advantage of the situation and, mopping up whoever's left alive after the fight. But sometimes that can be a really good way of getting some items. I find in particular, like field upgrades and keycards, sometimes you have a really tough time finding some of those. Especially if other people have already come through and picked a bunch of stuff up before you even have a chance to kind of look around. So sometimes that can be really helpful. Also, if you happen to take down a person who has hacked a vault terminal and they've got that gold field upgrade, sometimes that's a way you can get your golden field upgrade. You can't be third party if you're not invited. Yeah, like, suppose there is such a thing as crashing the party, right? Might as well grab a little bit more intel. The more intel you get from one of these terminals, the longer it's going to take to hack it, so keep that in mind whenever you're grabbing intel or hacking open the safes or doors. Usually the more benefit you would get from it, the harder or the longer it's going to take to hack it. So like 4 intel is going to take a lot longer to get than 1 intel. Higher security doors are going to take longer to hack than the lower security. Same thing goes for the safes. Whenever you're hacking open one of the field upgrade safes, the higher the rarity is.
Yeah! Science!
The higher the rarity is, the longer it's going to take to open the safe. So I'm taking a look around here. So technicians, some of their social interactions are like if there are whiteboards or different stuff around, you can just kind of like ponder what's written on the whiteboard. That's one of their unique social interactions. And I mean, that's the thing is sometimes it can be beneficial to just, if you want to build for that playstyle where you hunt down other agents and take them out, there are agents that are geared more toward that playstyle, so you could definitely do that. Or if you're more like me and tend to prefer to stay out of gunfights as much as possible and enjoy kind of blending in more and partaking in the art of remaining unseen, there are agents that are more suited for that as well. Because that agent that we defeated, Larson, actually has, like, his expertise, his ultimate ability is to temporarily turn invisible. He can't really do anything while he's invisible, but he's invisible. So he can't be detected, he can't be shot at. So sometimes it can be really difficult to keep track of him if he goes invisible and then just disengages from the situation entirely. You might have a bit of a tough time finding him again. That's a new one. So in the... I see the hydration. I actually probably should go get some water. It would be smart for me to have water on me, wouldn't it? I will be right back. Give me like 30 seconds. Never mind, the room is occupado. I will have to hydrate once the room is open again. Closest thing I've got is this lovely Zevia ginger ale. First ingredient is carbonated water. Is that close enough? I will get some actual water in a bit though. So, in the actual game, the vaults have security systems. There will be an indicator at the entrance to the vault to tell you whether there's already another agent inside the room or not. So if you do go inside this, if you're planning to go into the actual room where the package is, keep that in mind. You might want to look and see whether you've got a red light or a green light. If there's a red light, that means somebody else is already in there. And I think that's probably to prevent people from just silently camping in the package room and then just, you know, taking out anybody that tries to take the package and just kind of funneling in, that sort of thing. Also worth noting, if you come in here and you're not using the VIP cover, while you're hacking this terminal, once you finish hacking, your cover is gonna get blown.
As the package carrier, your navigation mode is updated to scan for rival agents. Keep in mind that intel will be drained when you use it. Make good use of this powerful ability.
So,
The downside to holding the package is that your position will be pinged to everyone at intervals.
here comes the cool music.
Into the objective gauge at the bottom of your screen. It gradually builds on its own, but the faster you move, the faster it builds. Enough talk. Now it's time to extract. Let's go.
So, if you get in here with the VIP cover, that can be helpful, but the odds of getting sussed out by another player, because there's only one VIP per map, makes that a very risky maneuver. Yeah, so now we have the package. You can see that orange circle at the bottom kind of fills up, and once it's done filling up, our location gets pinged to any surviving players at this exact position. It's like people will see that that the package carrier was here, facing that direction. And if you're sprinting, it fills up way faster. So you want to be careful about what sort of information you're giving to your competing agents. Nice thing is, when you have the package, you can enter your navigation mode, and you can see the outlines of enemy agents. It's like you can see there's one up ahead. But keep in mind, your intel is going to start draining pretty fast. So you want to make smart use of this ability so that you don't run out of intel. So there's somebody up ahead.
Activate the extraction terminal at your earliest convenience.
That right there is them. And here's the thing. Players will have some sort of indication. They'll have an indication on screen that the package carrier is using the scan ability. So just because you see this person here doesn't mean that they're not aware of you knowing that they're there. So you have to make use of this information however best you can. So you're going to want to get to one of these extraction terminals, activate it, and that'll call your extraction vehicle. You have to stand in this zone until that extraction bar fills up completely. Now before we leave, other players standing inside of this extraction area will block your extraction progress. So you have to be the only player standing in this area to be able to successfully extract.
Agent Squire, reporting for duty.
And of course, if you're playing team mode, then of course your teammates can also be standing in the circle, and they won't block it. But I haven't played the team mode because I'm already trying to figure out just how to keep myself hidden and out of trouble, let alone being paired up with two other people who I don't really have a super great way of communicating with. People of just, you know how it is with matchmaking. Getting filled with randoms. And that can be a very big gamble as far as what you can expect from the experience. Solo queue superior. There's definitely different play styles to it. If you have friends to play a game like this with, especially since there's the different agents you can play as, you can really branch out into some interesting strategy where you have different people doing different things. You can really divide and conquer. And it can be really interesting. It'll be even more like a spy movie. Because it's like, okay guys, here's the plan. And then you just like try to execute the plan, and then when things go awry, not if but when, then you improvise. Because that is what spies do. You make a plan, and when the plan doesn't go exactly as it's supposed to, you improvise. You make up the difference, basically. So yeah, is there anything else? I'm gonna get some water because I can go do that now. If you have any other questions about how the game kind of functions, you can pop those in the chat and I'll do my best to answer. But while I'm getting water, since I see that Twitch is gonna try to run an ad here, let's just get it out of the way. Let's just get the ad out of the way, and then I will try to answer any questions when I come back from getting water. So I will be right back. Make a plan, do the plan, run away from the fire. Yeah, pretty much. Usually my plan is to just let other people start the fire and kind of direct it at each other, and then I do what I can to kind of clean up toward the end. Very similar to how I play solo queue Fortnite as well. This is a game that just even more so plays to that particular playstyle. Because I do love letting other people just like, other people want to fight? Yeah, go ahead, let them fight. I don't need to throw myself in their way. Okay, so now I have some actual water. I can actually do my hydration. Wow. Imagine hydrating. But yeah, that is how I tend to play whenever the rare occasions that I do play Fortnite solo, because most of the time I usually just play it with other people socially. I don't usually play that game on my own as much. But when I do, I usually just kind of try to let other people do their own thing, and then I'll come in, and if I'm lucky, it'll be down to the last 3 people. The other 2 people in the match will fight each other, and then I come in and just kind of finish the job on whoever's left over after the duel. And it has worked multiple times. It is very effective. I suppose there is a small element of luck to it, though. I might have to restart the game because it's having that matchmaking issue. I've noticed that since this is the second time this has happened, this might be... If you sit on the menu for too long, it might have some matchmaking issues. I'm gonna mute this real quick, just so it doesn't blast our ears. But yeah, I find multiplayer games to be a lot more fun with friends, because it takes a lot of the pressure out of the experience for me. Because I feel like it's easy for me to kind of internalize a lot of personal performance pressure whenever I'm playing something multiplayer. Like,
Me?
Dead by Daylight is a huge
I'll do
example of
my
that.
best.
If I'm playing as killer, I feel like there's a lot of pressure because it's just me, and any mistakes that I make are being capitalized upon by 4 other people. Although there is a certain level of comfort I take in that any mistakes that happen are my own, and I'm not directly making someone else's experience. I'm not dragging down somebody else by me making mistakes. So that's why I tend to gravitate toward the killer role more. But as a survivor, if I'm making mistakes as a survivor player, then that's affecting all 3 of my other teammates in addition to myself. And that feels like a lot more pressure to me. But whenever it's just like we just do a custom lobby with a few people, so we all are just there to, have a good time, I think that makes it a lot more fun to just kind of let the game be what it is and not worry too much about the outcome specifically. And that's something I've been trying to learn how to do more effectively on my own too. To be able to play multiplayer games like this and just be able to say like, yeah, I mean, that's just how the game goes sometimes. And to not feel like, oh man, how could this person best me? Oh man, I've really messed up. And that sort of thing. Especially since I'm relatively new to multiplayer games specifically. Because for most of my life, I've never really been a multiplayer person. Like, the most I would usually do is something with a little bit of light co-op. Like, more of a cooperative nature to it, like players versus NPCs. I've never been much one for competitive multiplayer. But I'm kind of branching out into that a little more as time goes on. And I think this game is some of the most fun I've had in a competitive multiplayer experience, because you really can drive the experience more so based on your play style. Like, there's more diversity in what is an effective play style. And I think that kind of freedom is helpful.
done.
One thing I would like to do here is, well, I can grab some intel first of all.
That's it?
I want to grab a staff disguise.
Hey, a job's a job.
Oh, there's gunfire already. So there's gunfire over there. I'm not gonna go that way. I'm just gonna grab this.
I feel so good.
I'm just gonna walk down the hallway. Nothing suspicious here. I'm gonna grab those while I'm walking so that I'm not stopping to do an obvious hack right next to every single computer. Alright, intel is full. So I think I'm gonna go... Oh. Well, I have a green key card, so I can just open these for free, which is nice. Someone has already taken the purple here.
Unlocking my full potential.
I'm just gonna take this. I'm just gonna hack this. Alright, I'm full. That's probably a player. They opened a vault. I don't think the NPCs can open safes. Ah, I missed them. I might lose track of them here. Yeah, I didn't manage to plant a tracer on them. But I do not want to open fire, because that'll break my cover and make it even more obvious that I am who I am. So I'm just gonna try to move around as much like an NPC as I can. Is there anything good in there? No, not really. I'm just gonna plant that tracer on him. I'm gonna see how that does. Oh yeah, he's gone. He jumped off the ledge. That was definitely a player. Oh, no. Wait, he's still here, but I think it's still a player. I still think that's a player. It would be really unwise for them to jump. They're crouched in the corner. How are... Bro, there's no way. There's no way you're serious about this. I know who you are. Question is, what do I do about it?
Vault terminal deactivated. Must be nice to have others do your job.
Hush, I'm dealing with a situation here. This is a standoff. This is a spy standoff. Other gunfire, huh? You know what? I'm going to make an unwise decision. Wow, that wasn't a player. After all that, that wasn't a player. They were incredibly suspicious the entire time. And it turns out they weren't a player. That's how crazy good they are with the NPC movements. That's impressive. The fact that I can suspect someone for that long, and it turns out, hey, that actually was an NPC the whole time. Because if I shot them and they turned into a player and their cover was broken, that absolutely would be a dead giveaway, obviously, that they're an agent. But, man, that's interesting. They've done a really good job with the NPC movements. Because, like, sometimes it is really hard to tell who is and isn't a player. I feel like if it was a player, they probably would have gotten antsy enough to shoot me first. Because that's been my experience with other players so far, is that if they're even moderately suspicious of me being another person, that they usually take the opportunity to shoot first. Which isn't always the right call, but sometimes it is.
Do not be alarmed, but a rival has deactivated a vault terminal.
I'm gonna do a little bit of prep work here. Because I would like to get a guard. I would like to get a guard disguise.
Here we go.
If I can. So I'm just gonna pre-hack that door. One thing I can also do is try to make use of this drone, since I have it. Let's just deploy it up here. Because then I could just kind of take a look around. And if I notice anything suspicious, that can give me some information. It is possible for NPCs to sprint. So just because that NPC is sprinting does not make it an instant giveaway of whether they're a player or not. That kind of behavior is a little bit... It's a little bit sussy. That's... It's so interesting how it's like you're never fully sure. Because until you know 100% that someone's a player, everything is an educated guess. So one thing I could do to try to lay a bit of pressure on is mark them and see if they do anything
A vault terminal was deactivated
unusual.
by someone else.
Is sometimes just the knowledge that they're being traced.
Vault open.
Did they really just do that in front of me? Those silly billies. I would like to get a guard outfit because you can't enter the vault unless you have a guard outfit if you don't want to break your cover immediately. Because anywhere inside the vault is guard clearance or higher. So I think I'm going to pop in here, take that guard disguise,
They seem to be on edge.
and just see how the room plays out. Because it is possible to take the disguise off of another player or like you'll steal the disguise like you usually do, and it turns out that that was a player that you just copied the disguise from, which means that you are now in a very vulnerable position because obviously they saw you change. So that can make things a bit scary too. Anytime you change disguises is a bit of a tense moment. I hear a key card. Grab social battery would be nice. I believe the key card is over here. Hey, a guard key card.
They shouldn't leave those lying around. Can't have too much, honestly.
Now the guard key card is nice to have because, well, obviously there's guard doors in the vault, with it being a guard security area. So being able to open the guard doors for free can help you save some intel on the trip in.
Oh, please, more.
So here we are at one of the vault entrances. Someone died here. I'm gonna just take those.
I feel so good.
Someone died right there. So, oopsie doodle on their part. I'm gonna take some more intel since I have room for it now. I'm gonna sprint a little bit. Not too much. Just a little bit. Hack a bit more. Fill up my intel, and now we just keep on moving.
Destination set.
Alright. So this is the vault room right here. So in that area, right there is where the package is. I'm gonna recall my drone so I can get it off of the cooldown, because I might want to use it around here. I'm not usually the type to try to go in and grab the package. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Did you just crouch? Did you just crouch walk right in front of me?
I have to stop them, and stop them soon.
I am 100% shooting a tracer on you. If I could even do it. Alright, so now whoever's got the package is using those intel scans. So you want to make sure you don't stay in the same spot for too long when that happens, because they'll see your position. So you want to make sure whatever you're doing is not too telegraphed. Alright, so there's 3 extraction points. See if we could try to figure out which way they're going. Looks like they might be heading toward C?
Updating coordinates. Destination set.
Yeah, they're definitely heading towards C. Nope. That's definitely, yeah, that's a player, 100%. I'm not gonna be fussed about it though. I'll let them fight each other, because they're gonna provide as a distraction for the package carrier. Hopefully.
Extraction vehicle on standby. Tick tock.
So, look, they're fighting each other again. Look at them fighting. Alright, let me
Can't patiently leave those lying around.
grab the package and hope that nobody interrupts this. And there you go. I'm telling you, this is how I get my wins. I let other people fight each other and then I come in at the end. Like oh man, that's just how it tends to work out for me. That's the playstyle I go with. I mean, if it works, it works, right?
So exciting.
I just love... I can't believe how long I thought that NPC was a player. Like, that's really impressive. Because I shot them and they totally did not break cover or anything. Like, if you get shot by a bullet, your cover gets broken. So the fact that no cover was broken there other than mine from shooting, that NPC was acting really, really strangely, which is perfect for keeping players on edge. Just got my first hauler, I have a slightly better fighter now. Now I just have to become not poor. Yep, that's always the key in the early game, right? Is you want to get ships. You want to get your No Man's Sky ships, but you have to also make sure that you don't run yourself completely out of money. But yeah, having a hauler is really nice early on because you can basically use that as portable storage. So, definitely a good investment, even if a bit pricey up front. Eventually, once you start getting further down the line and getting a lot more of those inventory upgrades for yourself, you yourself will kind of end up being a portable storage. Because boy, you can expand your personal cargo slots quite a bit. Heading back to a water planet had all cores worth like 100,000 per core. Yeah, it's a pretty good option. I mean, whatever you can find that's worth a decent amount of money, just like take advantage of that. Alright, Diamond Spire. Let's see. Let's see what we got going on here. So, I'm gonna take a bit of a risk and immediately get a Staff Disguise,
Something.
since they're right here. Do you see this NPC, like, sprinting constantly? That's definitely not suspicious at all, right? So I think for me personally, the sooner I can get a guard disguise, the more comfortable I feel with kind of going around to different rooms. So while this is a bit risky with this kind of open area, I'd rather take the risk early.
They seem to be on edge.
I'd rather take the risk early and have a little more security moving forward. Because once, like, the longer I stay around in a match, the more paranoid I'm going to be about who's where. Because it basically just gives people more time to kind of spread out and such. I'll just sit right here and just take a look at what's around me. Okay, we've got several different pieces of intel hanging around.
I'm pretty good at this.
Someone opened this drawer, but NPCs can do that too. NPCs can interact with the environment. So they can interact with the environment, but not with items. So what? Well, that's unfortunate. I don't know what tipped him off. Just decided to shoot me, I guess. Probably was watching from a distance or something. That happens. Oh, they're dead too. Took like 10 extra seconds for them to also be dead.
Not paid enough for this.
What can I say? It happens. I'm trying to think. A thought just came to mind. Like, it actually, one of the things that makes multiplayer games more of a fun experience rather than a pressured experience, I think, is audience. Whenever I'm playing games on my own, I am my only audience, and since oftentimes we are our own harshest critics, I think it can be very easy for me to be kind of hard on myself for simple mistakes. Even if it's something that's not entirely within my control, which is kind of like how multiplayer games go, considering that you don't control the other people playing the game, per se. I think it can be easy for me to be hard on myself and not really cut myself as much slack as if we're just like doing something here where it's like, oh haha, funny thing, oops, they got me, I died. Versus if I'm on my own, it's just like, man, how did I not see that coming? I could have prevented this somehow, I think is kind of the mindset I end up falling into more when I play alone. And that's something I'm working on trying to change. I want to be more,
All going according to plan.
I want to be more lenient with myself when it comes to things like multiplayer games.
Oh, gotta act big.
Because there's really no reason for me to like be hard on myself when playing a multiplayer game, especially if the other people who are playing the game are better than I am. Then it makes total sense that they would be performing better. Man, gunfire already, huh? I'm gonna just go in here and ignore all of that. Oh, 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 oh.
I shouldn't feel proud
Alright.
of this, but
Okay, I'll leave. I'll leave.
You, I see you.
I know you see me. You can stop seeing me now. If you would stop seeing me, that'd be great. Okay, cool. A bit of a risk there, but it actually worked out okay. Surprisingly, didn't take any damage either. That works for me. Gotta head out now, but enjoy spying. Well, thank you, Bunny. Appreciate you jumping in, hopping in, and hanging out. It has been too long. Hopefully everything's going well with you. But what if it's just lag? Lag in what sense? Lag in the sense that their damage just hasn't hit me yet? Like, oh, wait. Yeah, I want this. Why they got their gun out? Sir, why do you have your gun out? I feel like he's looking for trouble. I can't open the technician room because I don't have a technician key card or the 8 intel required to hack it open. So I am going to just try and find some more intel. Spyglass is also nice for scoping out a room. Be able to get a look at things that are farther away.
Your rivals were faster and have deactivated a vault terminal.
You're better, but you're just lagging. Yeah, that too. I can see, you know, blame it on the lag kind of thing. But yeah, I feel like I have at least some idea of whether it's actually a lag that's causing a problem for me or not. You know, someone's a bit suspicious here. Wait a minute. Someone opened the door before I could hack it open. So the hack didn't go through. Let's try that again. I'm gonna grab this intel that's in here.
Here we go.
Alright, risky business, here we go. Who's in here?
Have wasted your time. This vault terminal has already been deactivated.
Well, this vault terminal's been deactivated, so that's information. But someone didn't take the upgrade, so either they already had it, or, you know...
Security.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know. Yeah. Okay, shot my remote drone. Cool. You know what? I'm just gonna heal real quick. That
Please don't judge me.
was another one of these boys. Same kind of guy. Like, same agent type. Whew. I'm just gonna heal for a bit. How about that? Yeah, good thing whoever came in here and hacked that vault terminal left behind that upgrade that increased my maximum health. Pretty good stuff. Okay, so the one thing I wanted to explain about the field upgrades is that you do choose them. In the menu, in the main menu before you even get into a match, there is an area to set up a few different loadouts of field upgrades. And based on what you put in there, that's what each of the differently colored field upgrades will get you. So the field upgrades are not RNG in the sense that whatever you pick up will be random. If you set up your field upgrades, like the same color chip is always going to be the same type of upgrade for you. Excuse me. So knowing that, you can build your field upgrade loadout to cater to a certain playstyle. Let's see, so which one of these is closest? Probably C?
Destination set.
So until you enter one of the objective rooms, you won't know whether or not that room has a vault terminal in it to begin with, and whether that vault terminal has already been hacked. So until you go explore those objective rooms yourself, you don't have a specific way of knowing which terminals, which rooms have terminals and which terminals have been hacked. I do have a blue key card, which is nice. So I can just stroll right in here. So it looks like people have been in here.
Deactivated. Your competition is serious.
So yeah, people have already hacked all 3 vault terminals, so I think I'll probably just make my way toward the vault. Let me see here. Wait. There's a vault terminal up there. So once you get in the guard room, I guess it gives you an indication. That's a blue key card. I already have that. Oh, let's see. Let's see. See if there's any intel around here. There's that one. And there's one in that drawer. Let's grab a little bit of intel here. Because
Pretty good at this.
there's usually a decent amount of intel in these purple rooms, but they're also incredibly risky for obvious reasons.
Vault terminal located. You have reached your destination.
Since you have to be in here under the wrong cover.
Good job. The vault terminal was deactivated.
There's usually nobody in these rooms. So, okay, my intel is completely full. Is there a safe around here? Doesn't look like it.
Vault open. Stay on your toes.
Alright. There was one match where I was mobile enough and the other players in the match were passive enough that they didn't hack the vault terminals. Who on earth is setting off the alarms? People are walking through here without the proper guard cover, and I think that's the metal detector? Because there are like metal detectors in these vault areas. And boy, are they not being subtle about it. I'm gonna head for that.
Navigation mode. Destination set. Destination set.
I feel like it's not setting my destination correctly.
Updating coordinates. Destination set.
Alright,
Updating coordinates.
I'm gonna set my coordinates to the case itself so that I know where that is. At the very least, I have a blue key card, so I can just get in here without having to pause or stop at all. See if I can I sneak this guy out of here at all? That'd be pretty cool if I could sneak him out, but I cannot. So let's grab it. Open this, pop him out. Think about how I want to do this. kind of like to plant the drone right up there because it's not super immediately obvious that it's there. Because it's kind of hidden by the light. The light kind of obscures it to a certain extent.
To get away.
Alright, someone grabbed it. So one thing I can do is try to see who it is and make use of that information. So they're over there. Oh, they're fighting. Oh, they shot him down. I'm gonna track them. So I put a tracer on them. So now I can keep an eye on where they are. I'm gonna need to run a bit. So I need to make sure I'm not out in the open here. Because they are using that scan liberally to track where I am. Okay, they're making a run for that side.
Destination set.
So they're likely heading for point A. But they are probably going to try to shoot me too. They look like they're trying to aggro me. Nope, they're going through. Yeah, they're just going straight through, okay. Right. Bit risky running like this, but I want to grab this and not be too far behind them. Oh, they're heading for B. Okay.
Navigation mode. Destination
We gotta move. It might honestly just be the two of us left. Hard to say for sure. But I need to be able to contest. I need to be able to contest this. Need to contest it. What can I say? Their accuracy was better than mine.
Someone just disappear like
But I had to do something.
Won't stay a rookie for long.
Well, there you go. Sometimes that's just how the matches go. We unlocked a few little extra bonuses for ourselves. Man, I get like really tense during those last moments,
Enthusiasm.
and it really messes with my accuracy. It's terrible. I just like seize up and it's not good. It's not good at all. So let's see, we unlocked... Let's see what we get. We've got ourselves a new calling card. I saw that. Squire collectible card. We'll put that on there. And then what was the other one? Was it a title? Now we can put Rising Star on there. Why not? Why not? So here in the field upgrades menu, this is where you can set up what field upgrades you'll get from each of the different chip colors. And you have 9 different upgrades to choose from, and depending on which color slot you put it in, will determine how strong the effect is. Considering that the lower security level chips are going to likely be easier to acquire than the higher level ones, and are more plentiful than the higher level ones. There's a bit of a balance between being able to get something early, but only having it do, you know, like a small amount of the effect, versus the big risk, big reward of getting, say, your gold upgrade. It's going to be hard to get it because there's only 3 of them, I think. I don't know if you get, I don't remember if you get one from the package terminal or not. But either way, you either have 3 or 4 of these in an entire match. So it's pretty limited in supply. But it is the strongest effect. So there's definitely a balancing act with the strategy behind that. But yeah, I enjoy this game a lot. I'm not super great with the aiming. I might need to adjust my sensitivity at some point, or just, you know, play more, get used to not being an absolute bundle of nerves in combat. Both of those could help. But yeah, I think that will be it for me for today, because it is around that time. So I think that is where we will call it. I'm not entirely sure what we're going to be up to next week. We always have Deceive Incorporated as an option. But next week, next Friday, is Tears of the Kingdom release day. So that's going to just be a huge draw of time and attention for me. And other games are going to inevitably be sort of shuffled around to being on the back burner. Or, you know, maybe a side burner, depending on the game. But Tears of the Kingdom is obviously going to, like, that's going to take up my primary gaming focus when it comes out. So I'm not entirely sure what we'll be up to next week, but worst comes to worst, if I don't have any other plan set in place, we can always come back to this. We always have Deceive Incorporated to give us a good time, because I know I enjoy playing it. So I'm also curious to see how they make their like what sort of balance changes and stuff come out for this over time, because things are changing. They're working on implementing a system right now, for example, that will punish players for just randomly taking pot shots at NPCs just to test whether they're an enemy agent or not. So they're working on a system to disincentivize that by tacking some debuffs onto players who play recklessly like that. So that, you know, there's more incentive to actually scope out your targets and try to surmise through deduction and observation whether it's a player, rather than just, if I shoot them and they break their cover, then yeah, that's a player. I can just keep shooting at them. Which seems to be prevalent in the player base right now, from what I've heard. And it wouldn't surprise me if that has contributed to people just randomly shooting me out of the blue. Maybe I was alright as an NPC, and I was just a little too far out of place. So they felt like, yeah, I'll just shoot and see what happens. Because, yeah, right now, you can kind of get away with that. But they're working on changes to make it a bit less Rudy Tooty aim and shooty. And give it a bit more of that actual spy deduction kind of flow to it. But yeah, I'm curious to see how all of that evolves as the game progresses. So yeah, other than that, that will be all for me for today. So thank you all for being here and hanging out. And I don't know how I'm gonna upload this archive because it's kind of like a two-parter. Because I did the KO stuff on the first half and then Deceive for the second half. I might upload them separately. I might just glom them together. I'm not sure how I'm gonna suss it out yet. But the archives will go up. They always do. The show must go on. But this stream is closing up. So thank you all for being here and hanging out. I appreciate you all joining in and being a part of the spy shenanigans. And until the next stream, take care, everyone.